Hey guys, on today's episode of VO, we are going to talk about product management. We have Miss Khanjan Desai with us, who is a senior PM at PayPal. My conversation with Khanjan revolved around all topics like what is product management, what do product managers do, how does the PM interview process look like, and much more. If you are someone who's an aspiring PM or who wants to switch careers into product management, this is the video for you. So stick around till the very end to see what we have in store for you. Hi guys, this is Umang here, and I'll be your host for today's session of VO. This session is going to be all about product management, and we have Khanjan Desai with us. So, Khanjan, would you like to introduce yourself to our viewers?
Sure, Umang. Hi, everyone. I'm Khanjan, and currently I'm a senior product manager at PayPal. I have worked as a product manager with Razorpay as well in their neobanking vertical. And education-wise, I am also from NMIMS and Indian School of Business. I have done my MBA and engineering as well. And I have also worked prior to the Indian School of Business with Bain and Company as an associate and Vodafone Idea as an assistant manager in their IT function. So more or less, I have touched upon a lot of roles, but I have always been surrounded by product and tech and solving customer problems. So that is how now finally I have landed into this particular vertical, and I'm thoroughly enjoying being a product manager.
Your resume has so many brand names, first of all, I have to say that. Okay, so Khanjan, as I have already informed you, the theme for today's session is going to be PM 101. So it's a beginner's guide to product management. So we'll be starting up from the very scratch. So for starters, I would like to ask you what is product management and what does a product manager basically do?
Okay, so I'm going to keep it very simple, right? And very basic. Essentially, a product manager is the creator and the nurturer and protector of a product, in simple words, right? So why I say creator, nurturer, and protector is because your journey never ends, right? So you start with the idea and the inkling of the product. What is it going to be like? Why is it going to be built? Who are you building it for? And what are the problems you're solving? Once you have these answers, you create the product, you actually build it. Either it could be a physical product, or it could be a non-tangible service related product, or it could be a bundle of utilities. So any of these, it gets built, right? And the people who help you build, again, you are going to coordinate with them. So they could be manufacturers, engineers, builders, whoever, right? And then you protect the product. And what I mean by protection is you make sure that it is running smooth. You make sure that there are no bugs in it. You make sure that if it goes out of the way or it acts in a funny way, you try to firefight the situation. And in doing all this, you have to coordinate and collaborate with a lot of stakeholders. So that is one of the core sort of job role of a product manager. But in very simple analogy, this is what a product manager does.
Okay. So adding to that, I just want to know, why do you think a product manager is so important?
Right. So without a product manager, there will be just multiple teams trying to do various activities without a common goal, right? And without a common end point in mind. What a product manager does is he or she or they give direction to why a product is being built and what are the features that are going to be of maximum benefit to someone. So once this particular question is answered and the product is created, the product manager also measures success and then pivots the plan depending on what the customers want. So why a product manager is important is because if these questions and if these kind of redirections don't happen, soon enough your product will be stopped using by your customers, or they will move away to your competitors and you will be out of business.
That's a nightmare, actually. Yeah,
Yeah.
for any tech firm. Yeah. So you have been in the product space for quite some time now. I think 2 to 3 years minimum. So I would like to know, what are, according to you, what are some qualities that a good product manager should have? Like those are non-negotiable. Negotiable.
Right. So I don't like the bifurcation of good versus bad and all of that, but I'd just say that the essential skills that a product manager should have would be firstly to be a good listener and be empathetic, right? So if you are going to be a person who is just concerned about your own agendas and your own innuendos, you are not going to be a successful product manager, because your job is to listen to 10,000 different people, 10,000 different teams, try to make sense of what they are saying, understand where they are coming from, and then try to make a common plan, right? At the same time, a product manager should be able to take any problem at any time and be ready to solve it. So, as ideally, we don't say no, right? I mean, you should learn to say no and all of that, but then saying no should require a lot of research that goes into it. And anything and everything that is a problem with the product or with the customer is a product manager's job, right? So that is the second thing. And the third most important skill is to be able to communicate well, right? So it's not about having good English or having good language skills. It's just about articulating what you want to say in a correct manner, because your words are going to be used for you or against you, because there are so many stakeholders, right? So you need to be a person who is clear in communication, who knows how to document, right? So we have to write a lot of product requirement documents. We have to write a lot of concept notes. We have to float a lot of meeting, agreements, and follow up with people. So communicating is also as important a skill as listening is for a PM.
So you listed down a lot of qualities right now. When you started out as a PM, I want to know like what are the qualities that among these that you found difficult to cope with. So I don't think that these qualities were inbuilt from the very beginning. You must have built them through certain processes that you went through, right? So
Yeah. So, yeah, very good point, actually. So, I would say that, see, everybody can develop these skills, right? But it's not about skills that much, as much it is about your willingness to adapt, right? So, every company, every team, and every person that you interact with, and because you are a product manager, you tend to do it with a lot of different people, uh, entails a different experience, right? So if I say that, look, this is the way I like to conduct meetings, this is the way I like to get agreement from people, and if I follow up with a person, I should get an answer in 2 days, otherwise I'm going to escalate it. Things don't work out that way, right? So what I found challenging is the this adaptation part, because the some of the other roles, maybe not most of them, they have very clear set of job descriptions, right? That your job is to, let's say, do analysis, or your job is to, let's say, code, and you're given it very clearly. But a product manager does not have things clearly laid out for them, right? So my what I did is, to cope with this challenge, what I did is I started sort of making certain learnings, right? So I started recording certain learnings from the different experiences I had with, let's say the marketing team likes to work this way and the sales team likes to work this way, right? So what is the common ground I can get them both at, right? So these are the kind of learnings, adaptive learnings, that you need to sort of register in your mind and even maybe make notes, so that you tailor make your interactions and your day-to-day jobs with them, right? So this is very essential. You can't be black and white in everything and anything when you're a product manager.
So you basically need to have the intent first of all to develop those skills, and secondly, like you said, you need to put your teams and your stakeholders' needs before yours. If I got
Definitely,
that, yeah.
always, of course.
So my next question is basically, can you let us know like a step-by-step roadmap as to how someone who's just out of college can get into product management?
Yeah. So the first and the foremost thing that you should check out, right, is to see whether you have the skill set necessary from a soft skill perspective, right? So whether you have good oration skills, or whether you are able to confidently speak in a forum, right? Whether you are able to be a good listener and you don't have this issue where you where you just want to speak and not listen to anyone. So just develop all those things while you're in college, right? Because I'm taking a little step back and I'm trying to touch upon what you can do. Let's say for you, right, you're in the last year of your college, so at this point you should start developing those skills. And at the same time, in terms of the hard skills that you should develop, is one, definitely learn to work with data, learn to work with data sets, learn to get kinds of analytics sets that you have, and try to learn a few languages. You might not use them directly when you're a product manager, but then you might be working with people who work on those languages, right? So these could be R, Python, these could be, of course, normal Excel analytics, right? This could be SQL querying, right? So all these are basics that you should have. The other thing that you should learn is project management, right? So the nuances of project management. How do you really talk to stakeholders without offending them and getting updates from them and making them do their job, right, all the time? How do you make sure that you reach out to different types of people who you have never talked to, right? So these are the things you do in the college or around that. The second step is to actually find opportunities, right? So in order to do that, I think uh, inexperienced people might not directly land actual product management roles, right? And this is a very big problem. So what you do is you start with an internship, or you start shadowing a product manager, or you take a mentor, or nowadays there are a lot of product management groups, or I would say companies which offer boot camps and workshops, etc. They also offer placement assistance. So I would not recommend one or two names, but yes, I have been part of a few of them. I've been a mentor on a few of them, so even those are very helpful, and we have gotten good feedback on that as well, right? So internships, live projects, reaching out to the real world PMs, taking a mentor for yourself, joining a peer group or a network or a company which makes you or which gives you assistance. These are some of the options. And then the other option is, obviously you could go and do an MBA, or you could go and do a product management specific course, right? Academic course. So these would then directly give you like a short entry into product management. But nobody has to do it compulsorily without also doing. People ask me all the time, do we need to do an MBA to be a PM? Of course not. Right? Doing MBA has a lot of different reasons. Being a PM could be one of those reasons, but it's not vice versa. So yeah, so these are the routes that you could take. There are many routes, and I would recommend try to take all of them. Just don't leave any stone unturned, but you could also be focused on one of these.
So I would like to add something. So basically, you like listed down a lot of technologies when you were talking about, the initial part of the roadmap. You said Python, SQL. So with respect to someone who's not from a technical background as such, they may have a sort of uh, brief or superficial overview of the technologies involved in the development of a software, any kind of software. Uh, would you suggest for them to go into product management?
Totally, very good question. And yes, I would suggest them, I would urge them. See, now again, another misconception is that product managers need to know how to code or should know technology, right? That is partially true, but partially wrong, right? Because product managers don't have to do those things themselves. So we don't have to code ourselves, we don't have to do analytics ourselves. Of course, if we know how to do it, we will have a leverage, right? We will have a leverage over the teams, we will have a leverage over other fellow candidates, right? But what you need to know from a technical standpoint is your particular product, right? Let's say you're interviewing for a company. Now that company is into a website, they have their website, which maybe is a platform like a tech platform. You should know that, okay, this is an edtech platform, this is a website. So what are the core basics of how a website works? How is a website created? Which is the team that goes into it? What is the language? If you don't know anything about languages, right, coding languages, try to read it up. So you can't just put your hands in the air and say that I don't know anything about a website, but I want to be a product manager of a website, right? That makes no sense. But that same thing applies to any profession. Even if you're a consultant, you might not know it before, but when you are allotted to a project, when you're assigned a project, you start gathering information on it. So similarly, having knowledge of different tools, different languages will always be a plus. Not having it will not bar you or deter your chances of being a product manager, provided you are ready to learn, provided you are ready to contribute to the team, right? You just can't be a receiver of knowledge from them. You are in, at the end of the day, you are supposed to be the manager for them. So that's how things work. But at this point, because you are in college, and maybe this, the audience of this particular podcast is also going to be people in college, I would want to urge you all that you have time in your hands, right? You have age on your side. So please try to learn as many technologies as you can, because in today's world, if you are saying that I don't care about technology and I don't know technology, I don't know what you're doing. Everything is technology right now. So how can you be aloof from it, right? And try to get your hands dirty, right? You might learn a language, a coding language, and you might hate it. I hated coding, but I learned it. I have learned Python, I have learned R, right? And the beauty of it is unmatchable, but that doesn't mean that I'm perfect at it. But today, when I talk to my engineers, I feel confident, and maybe that is why I was able to progress. So this is the message I would want to give for sure.
So it all boils down to intent. So even if you are not like really
Yes.
technical, if you have the intent to progress with the team and progress the project forward, you have to learn the technology either ways, at least a bit about it, if not
Yeah.
in the very depth of it. Okay. Uh, okay. So the next question is about interview. So the I really think that the product management interview is very different from the normal
Yes.
SDA interviews that we normally see on YouTube. So we would like to know what exactly does that entail.
Yeah. So there are two types of product management interviews that happen. One type is your normal type, where they try to ask you about your resume, and they try to ask you about what you have done, and which, if you're already a product manager, then they try to ask you what were you working on that product. And so now at my stage, uh, more often than not, I wouldn't have to solve cases, right? But when I started with product management, whatever interviews I gave, I was straight away given a product case. Now, what do I mean by product case, right? So there are 3 to 4 types of product cases that could come in your interviews that you should prepare for. The first one is root cause analysis, which is where they tell you that, okay, the shopping cart is not having enough additions, right? So what could be the reason? So there's a framework for it. There are multiple resources which you could use to learn the frameworks, and then make your own framework also to solve this kind of a case. The second case is, and which is one of the most common type, is the new product design. So they might tell you that build an alarm clock for blind people, or build an alarm clock for kids, right? So there's another framework again, and there are many frameworks. Circles framework is one of the most common ones. But so there are frameworks for that case type. The third case type is product strategy come product growth, or something from a business perspective. So there you are asked, and you're checked for your business sense, because product managers just cannot be product people, they have to be business people as well. So that is the third case type. Now, what happens usually is that every interview is of 35 to 40 minutes, where you have to solve this 1, 2, or 3 cases depending on your speed, right? So you do this, and then if you have made a good if you have done a good performance in the case, then you are moved to the next round, where again you are given a different case, and you solve 3 to 4 cases in 3 to 4 rounds, and then you go for the HR round, or just like a normal interview round, where they actually know you as a person and as a professional. Before that, you have to just solve cases. So that's usually how a product management interview is.
Very hectic. Yeah. So in terms of like resources, what are some resources that aspiring PMs can use to crack these interviews?
Right. So, see, there are firstly some basic books, right? In case you don't know anything about product management, I think these books like Decode and Conquer and Cracking the PM Code, these are the two basic books which I wouldn't say they are very helpful or extensive, but they are very good to start with. So when I did not have any clue about product management, which was not long ago, even though I was doing a lot of things which were part of a PM's role, but not exactly. So these books helped me get a sense of what the profession is, or what just the process is about, right? The second good resource is, of course, a lot of product management blogs that are written by great PMs across the world, right? So, on Medium, Medium is a website where there are a lot of credible blogs written, right? So there is a section of product management where people do analysis of different products. They do product design, UX UI related cases. There's a lot of material, right? So just go to Medium and look up the product management section. Exponent is another very good source which I personally used, right? So Exponent, Stephen, he the founder of Exponent, he sort of records videos with experienced and seasoned PMs, and he practices mock interviews with them, right? And they are as near to the real interviews as they could be, right? And then in terms of in India, there are a lot of other groups such as PM School and INSAID and all of these. I have worked with these, so I know, but there are many other groups also, right? So there we have a lot of free content available, which is recorded again on YouTube, right? So there are free content and cases that you could look at and you could prepare for your own interviews. So yeah, to just summarize, start with books which are written by very experienced authors, and they might have been product managers themselves. Go to blogs, follow top PMs on LinkedIn, and try to see if there's someone. So there's this lady Anisha Chishti. She makes very good cartoon videos on small PM concepts. So I personally love her content, and I even messaged her appreciating it, right? So there's unique content as well, because you will get bored, right? If you keep just seeing mock this, that, you'll just get a PM saturation overdose, right? So don't do that. Try to mix it up. Watch YouTube videos of mock interviews, and then the best resource you have is your own peers, right? So once you do all of this prep, and once your friends do all of this prep, make a peer group where you can actually practice mocks with each other, where you can actually share what you have read. Because if you read everything, right, you will take double the time. But let's say if you're two friends, one of you reads half of the PM resource repository, and one of you reads the other half, you can just share it and save a lot of time. So try to do that. And then the best way to apply all this is to start writing cases on, or writing product notes on just new product ideas, right? Making your own frameworks, making your own structures, right? And doing like a redesign of, let's say, your favorite website, right? Let's say your favorite website is I don't know, Nika, for example. Let's say my favorite website is Nika. I would then take a case just to redesign it, right? So try to do these kind of cases, and try to answer a lot of PM questions. This will give you so much confidence during your actual interviews, or whenever you try to approach someone, that this will definitely reflect in your performance, right? So yeah, this is sorry, it was a very long list, but this will definitely help you, and trust me, most of it is needed. So yeah.
This is amazingly helpful, actually. I just want to ask something related to, like you said, we should try and design our favorite websites. I wanted to ask you, what's the difference between a UX designer who will be designing a particular website and a PM designing that same website? I think that's enough information for one video. If you like today's video, please do like, share, and subscribe. The second part of this conversation will be uploaded on Aman's channel tomorrow, so please stay tuned for that.